Hi, this is Beth Green and Craig Schettler, and in this video we will show you how to make your very own Hummer car in software.
Alright, firstly we need to go to File, New Project, then click on the C++ application, and click the Next button, and we're going to name this Hummer 2, and uncheck this Create Main File, and click the Finish button. Alright, make our header files. So we got to right click, New, and then go to the C++ header file, and we're going to name this Hummer 2, and click the Finish button. Okay, now we're going to have to include our IO stream, and also we're going to have to include IO-manip and wheelassembly.h, which we will create for this program later on. And also we have to include using namespace std with the semicolon at the end, and if you don't have that semicolon, it'll just create lots of problems and your program won't run. And then we're going to put our class in, so class, and we're going to name this class Hummer 2. I'm going to space down and do an open curly brace for this, and type public with this colon, and then I'm going to enter down, and we're going to write void rotate forward, and this is the start of our function which will make our Hummer roll forward as we run this program. And don't forget your semicolon at the end. Now we're going to have to do private with a colon, then space down, and this we're going to have to put wheel assembly 1 and wheel assembly 2, so we can have the Hummer file go into the wheel assembly and like make all the pieces in our Hummer work together. And don't forget your semicolons at the end. Alright, now we got to create our source files, so we go to source files, click new, and the C++ source file, and we're going to name this Hummer 2, same thing as our header file, and then click the finish button. Alright, in this file we got to include our IO stream and our IO manip, and also we're going to include hummer.h and wheelassembly.h, and the wheel assembly will be created right after we get done with this Hummer 2.cpp. Okay, and like always, we got to include our using namespace std. Alright, in this one we got to write the word void, then Hummer 2, and now we're going to have 2 colons and rotate forward function. Alright, in this, when we call the rotate forward function in our main file, it will go into this and see what the function actually contains and do the job necessary. So we're going to write cout with 2 forward carets, and write Hummer rotating forward with semicolon at the end. And now we're going to call the wheel assembly, so when this runs it'll go into our rotate function. Our Hummer will be rotating, and it's going to call the wheel assembly to also rotate forward, so we actually have a working Hummer car. Alright, and that's pretty much it for... Alright, now we're going to have to create our wheel assembly. We're going to first do that by go to the header file, right click new, and the C++ header file, and we're going to name this wheel assembly 2, or just wheel assembly, and click finish. Alright, in this file we're going to have to include our IO stream and IO manip again. So Alright, and this time we're going to include front wheel.h, which we will be creating later, and also include our rear wheel, axle, and axle gear, and they'll be all .h files. And the purpose of this is, in the wheel assembly, these parts are all connected together, and we're just breaking down each part into like smaller functions, so we can actually see the front wheel and the axle work together in order to make this car move. Alright, now we're going to include our using namespace std, and now we're going to make a class in here, and this time it's going to be called wheel assembly, an opening curly brace, and we're going to write public, and we're going to do void rotate forward with the parentheses and the semicolon. Alright, public or private. Alright, in this private we're going to have to write front wheel, then we're going to do like a little subname FW1 with a semicolon, rear wheel, and make sure that it's all one word. Alright, then we're going to do the axle, and lastly axle gear. And again, all these front wheel to the axle gear is all the parts that the wheel assembly is made of. And our wheel assembly.h file has been completed, and now we're going to move on to the wheel assembly.cpp. So we're going to go new C++ source file, and we're going to name it same thing as our header file, wheel assembly. Alright, we're going to have to do all of our includes again, manip and iostream, and also include the wheel assembly.h, front wheel.h, rear wheel.h, axle, and axle gear.h. And using namespace std. Alright, in this one we're going to do void wheel assembly and colon, and now I'm going to do that rotate forward function again. Alright, and this time, alright, in this rotate forward function we're going to do the cout, but we're going to do wheel assembly rotating. Alright, and this time we're going to call the front wheel, rear wheel, and axle gear, and they're all going to call this rotate forward function. So all those things, when we run this program, will turn forward as the Hummer moves along. Alright, if you notice, we have a bunch of red squiggly lines all over our program. That's because we haven't made these files yet. So, and all you guys have to do is just create another header file and just do the same thing that we did with the connecting the Hummer2.h file with the wheel assembly file with the front wheel, rear wheel, axle, and axle gear, and these red lines should just go away. I'll let you guys do that. Alright, once you get all those files created, and there's no more pieces, like as the axle.h is broken down as far as it can go, all you have to do is include your iostream and iomanip, and using namespace, and call it class axle. And this is for example, and you can call it anything that you want, but you gotta be consistent. And go to public and just put the void rotate forward function in there, And that's pretty much it for the header file. So we move to the axle.cpp file. Just do all your includes and using namespace. And once you create the rotate forward function, the only thing you have to put inside is the cout that is rotating forward, so when we run this we know it's actually rotating forward. And that's pretty much it for the main part of this program. And now we're going to move along to the main.cpp file.
Okay, now that we have created the main file, we're going to include the IOStream library, the IOmanip library, and Hummer.h. Make sure you remember to use your using namespace std. You type in your int main and then your open and closing curly braces. Now we're going to take Hummer and we're going to name it SUV. Semicolon, then go to your next line. Call the SUV, the rotate forward function, your parentheses, closing. Alright, we will take the SUV, call our rotate forward function, use our parentheses, semicolon, and then return 0. Alright, now we're going to go up and run the program. Alright, and as you can see, each part of the program lets you know that it's rotating forward, and it was successful, so now we're done. We have now explained how you can take one main CPP file and include many header files to create an object to work together to get one complete object. Thanks for watching!